My name is Emily Harper. I'm 29, and I've always believed life was meant to be celebrated, not just lived. I'd spent years documenting every laugh, every surprise, every ordinary Tuesday, and sharing it online with a growing community who adored my perspective. My boyfriend, Ryan Bennett, 31, was charming, funny, and oblivious to just how much I noticed. That would become relevant. It started innocently enough. Ryan had never cared much for Instagram except when it made him look good. But the day he hit 50K followers, I noticed a shift. Suddenly, every story, every photo was about him. The engagement ring, the overly filtered coffee dates, the Ryan and Emily captions plastered everywhere. He called it cute, but I saw it for what it was: opportunity. I should have warned him. 3 months before our wedding, Ryan sat me down, grinning like a kid with a new toy. We could turn this wedding into something big. People love this stuff. We could get sponsorships, dresses, venues, catering, even rings, he said. He pulled out a half-finished spreadsheet with rough numbers. My stomach sank. Because while he was dreaming of instant fame, I was thinking long-term. He didn't see the risks. He didn't consider ownership, copyright, control. He just wanted the clout. I smiled, nodded, and listened, pretending to marvel at his vision. That night, while Ryan bragged to his friends about potential brand deals and Instagram fame, I got to work. Every video I filmed, every caption I drafted, every behind-the-scenes moment he thought was casual, I began cataloging it meticulously. By morning, I had filed copyrights on our proposal video, trademarked Emily and Ryan, along with several variations, and registered all creative content as my intellectual property. Cost me $1,500. Best investment I'd ever made. The kicker? Ryan didn't notice. He was too busy imagining the free dresses, the sponsored bouquets, and the viral potential of his smile. 2 weeks later, a brand reached out. They wanted to use our engagement story for a campaign. Sorry, I said. It's copyrighted. Ryan can participate, but the story usage goes through me. When Ryan found out, his face went white. What do you mean you own it? That's sabotage. I held his gaze calmly. It's not sabotage, it's business. You said yourself that this wedding is an opportunity. I'm just protecting my creative work. His lips trembled, trying to form a retort, but nothing worked. I could see the gears turning in his mind. Admiration, confusion, a hint of panic. For the first time, Ryan realized this wasn't just fun content. Someone had thought ahead. Someone was in control. Of course, that didn't stop him from trying. He started calling our brand Ryan and Partner in posts, recreated videos with friends standing in for me, anything to bypass the copyright. Engagement plummeted. His followers didn't respond to hollow recreations. The algorithm didn't respond either. He was losing, fast. And yet in the quiet moments, he smiled at me like nothing had changed. I kept mine smaller, sharper, inward. Patience, I reminded myself. The downfall had already begun. Foreshadowing whispered in my mind. Ryan was charming, but impulsive. He loved the idea of fame more than the work it took to earn it, and that hubris would be his undoing. My job wasn't just to protect our story. It was to ensure that when the consequences came, they came fully. That night, as Ryan fell asleep scrolling through his notifications, I sat in the glow of my laptop. Every brand email, every proposal, every contractual detail, all lined up. The wedding was months away, but the real drama had already started. And Ryan didn't even know it. Ryan thought he could outsmart me. He really did. By now, I had everything lined up. The proposal video, the engagement photos, even the casual behind-the-scenes clips Ryan had uploaded, all legally mine. I had trademarked Emily and Ryan and its variations. Every piece of content, every caption, every moment where I had contributed creatively was protected. And Ryan? Oblivious. It started innocently. Ryan tried to recreate our viral proposal video with his buddy as a stand-in for me. He even made a caption about recreating perfect moments to post on his account. But it failed spectacularly. Comments poured in. Where's Emily? This feels fake. Did they break up? Engagement dropped by nearly 60% in a day. Brands he had hoped would sponsor him started pulling back. He called me, panicked. Emily, what happened? I don't get it. People don't care anymore. This should have gone viral. I let him stew for a moment. Calmly, I explained. Ryan, the content people care about is authentic. The videos, the moments, the story, that's all copyrighted under my name. You can't just swap actors and expect the same engagement. He froze, realization dawning. His empire, built on charm and improvisation, was crumbling under the weight of someone else's foresight. Mine. Then came the threats. I'm going to post anyway. Who cares if you trademarked it? People will see my version and love it. I didn't respond immediately. I just smiled. He didn't understand the law, and he didn't understand strategy. He didn't realize that every attempt he made to bypass me only made the fall more spectacular. 2 brands called me directly. The florist, the dress designer, even the venue. All had inquiries about rights. And yes, I charged them accordingly. Ryan didn't like it. He accused me of sabotaging our wedding and being controlling, but in reality, I was simply protecting my creative work and making sure the story remained intact. Meanwhile, his ego started cracking. He tried to call my bluff, posting live videos claiming I was holding back content and not letting him shine. Viewers saw through it immediately. Comments called him out. Emily created this. He's just a background actor. Engagement fell even further. By now, the emotional tension was palpable. Ryan oscillated between desperation and rage while I stayed composed, recording every interaction, documenting every threat, every attempt to undermine me. He was heading straight for a public and personal collapse, and I was merely watching the dominoes fall. And yet, in private moments, he still tried to charm me, to regain control. He'd bring flowers, cook a fancy dinner, attempt grand gestures, all clearly meant to distract from the reality that he was losing. I indulged him just enough to keep him close, but the truth was clear. I held the power. Foreshadowing whispered again. This was far from over. Ryan's mistakes were multiplying, and the brands, the followers, the algorithm itself, everything was a mirror reflecting his flaws. He loved the idea of fame, but he hated the work, the planning, the foresight, and that ignorance was his downfall. In the quiet hours of the night, while Ryan slept, I looked over my spreadsheets, contracts, and correspondence. Every brand deal, every sponsorship, every potential revenue stream, meticulously organized, legally airtight. I didn't just anticipate his mistakes. I had prepared for them. The wedding hadn't even happened yet, but Ryan's unraveling had already begun, and when the world finally saw what he was truly capable of, or incapable of, it wouldn't be pretty. Ryan had reached the point where charm and improvisation were no longer enough. Every attempt to regain control, every hastily shot video, every poorly worded Instagram story only pushed him further into public ridicule, and he didn't even realize that I had anticipated every move. It started with the lawyer. Ryan hired one to challenge my copyright and trademark registrations. He claimed that the story, the proposal video, the Emily and Ryan brand, all of it was a shared experience, that we both had equal rights. I waited until his lawyer sent the first draft before responding. Calmly, I presented every piece of evidence. Emails, where he asked me to write romantic captions for him. Every video file with metadata proving my authorship. Every version history in my Google Docs. Every single creation had my fingerprints all over it. The lawyer backed down. Ryan, however, didn't stop. In a series of increasingly desperate social media posts, he painted me as controlling, manipulative, and blocking his dream of influencer success. He tried live streams, crying videos, desperate attempts at storytelling, but without the authentic content, it fell flat. Viewers were confused, skeptical, even mocking. Brands that had been excited about sponsoring our wedding content began calling me directly. They needed approvals, content rights, and clear legal ownership. I handled it with precision. Ryan's pleas to intervene fell on deaf ears. He didn't understand that authenticity, not his ego, was the currency. His mother called, attempting to mediate. "Emily, maybe you can just let him have this. It's his passion too," she said. I stayed calm. "I'm not trying to take anything from him. I'm protecting what I created. He can still participate, but the content, the creative work, belongs to me. That's how it works." By this point, Ryan's social media engagement had plummeted. His follower count dropped. Comments mocked his attempts to recreate our story. The algorithm, merciless as ever, stopped favoring his posts. Every misstep he made publicly mirrored the mistakes I had quietly prepared for privately. And then came the threats. Ryan tried to force agreements, threatened public drama, even suggested canceling the wedding unless I ceded control. I let him stew. Every emotional outburst, every rash decision only reinforced my position. Foreshadowing whispered again. Ryan loved the idea of fame more than the discipline of content creation. His impulsiveness would soon catch up with him in ways he couldn't imagine. And when the fallout finally hit, brands, followers, public opinion, it would be catastrophic. I stayed methodical. Every interaction was documented. Every comment, every email, every live stream recorded. Ryan's emotional volatility was now an asset to me, proof that without foresight and strategy, charm alone could not sustain influence. By the end of part 3, it was clear. Ryan's escalation had sealed his fate. I wasn't just surviving his missteps, I was orchestrating the consequences. The wedding was still months away, but the real drama had already begun. Ryan's downfall was no longer a possibility, it was inevitable. The night before what would have been our wedding, Ryan arrived at my apartment, clutching a stack of papers like a lifeline. His charm, once effortless, now carried an edge of desperation. "Emily, we need to sign this," he said, thrusting a contract toward me. 50-50 split, creative control, everything. I looked at him calmly, letting the tension hang in the air. "Ryan, this isn't a negotiation. You've spent months trying to bypass me, recreate content without me, and manipulate public perception. You've lost control of this story, not because I took it, but because you mismanaged it." He swallowed, fumbling with words. I just want the wedding to happen. We can make it right. We can share it equally." I held up my own stack of papers, meticulous contracts, legal documentation, copyright registrations. I've already protected every piece of content, every video, every post. The wedding hasn't happened yet, but you've already destroyed your leverage. You can't force shared ownership after undermining every part of the process. Panic flashed in his eyes, quickly replaced by defiance. "I'll call it off. Fine, I don't need this." I shook my head slowly. "Ryan, the moment you threatened to call off the wedding to manipulate me, you crossed the line from impulsive to self-destructive. You've spent months creating the illusion that this was about love, but I can see it now. It's never been about us. You wanted content, attention, fame, not partnership." His shoulders slumped, and for the first time I saw real fear. He had been playing a game without understanding the rules, and I had been several steps ahead the whole time. I continued, my voice steady, precise. "The contracts, the copyright, the brand. All of it remains under my control. You can participate, yes, but you do not dictate how this story is told. Your ego isn't a license to profit from someone else's work." He looked at me, desperation boiling over. "Emily, I can't." "You can't what? Lose? You already have, and the world will see it," I said softly. "You built a reputation on charm and improvisation, and now the consequence of your mismanagement is unavoidable." He tried one last tactic, filming a tearful video for social media, claiming he'd been abandoned at the altar. I let him. The irony was exquisite. Without historical content, without the real story to support it, it fell flat. Viewers were confused, followers dropped further, brands pulled out. His collapse was now public. And I was calm. The story, the content, the narrative, all mine. I had anticipated every move, prepared for every threat, and remained several steps ahead. By the time the night ended, it was clear. Ryan's wedding dreams, influencer career, and social media relevance had crumbled. I didn't need to do anything more. His downfall was complete, and I would emerge not just unscathed, but in control.